Good Tuesday morning, everybody. Chris here with High Seas Cruising, and welcome to the Cruise News. Now, I got a big story for you today, and the question's going to be, is this a cruise scam? Were these people scammed? And I got some questions about it because Carnival Horizon, well, it departed with about 50 passengers left standing on the dock. But we'll get to that story here in a little bit because first I have some updates, and first one's going to be for the Carnival Pride. Now, the Carnival Pride is departing Tampa, Florida on April the 7th. It is doing a one-way Journeys cruise and is supposed to end in Baltimore, Maryland. And with the recent bridge collapse, the home port change for the Carnival Legend, the home port change for the Vision of the Seas, the ending of where is going to happen to the Carnival Pride, well, that has been in question, and Carnival is now providing an answer. The Carnival Pride is supposed to be in Baltimore on April the 21st and will still be going to Baltimore. The most recent information coming out of Baltimore is they expect a section of the cruise channel to be opened back up. I did see it on my local news this morning. They are currently clearing the debris out of the channel. They want to get shipping reopened as soon as possible. So the latest numbers, the latest estimates say that the Carnival Pride will be able to go back to Baltimore. So that means right now there are no changes or no plans to change the itinerary. However, you guys know things can happen. Things can go wrong. Plans cannot work out. So Norfolk, Virginia is the alternate disembarkation port if this just doesn't work out and they cannot get into Baltimore. Then the Pride will divert and will disembark in Norfolk, Virginia. Now, if the alternate becomes necessary, Carnival Cruise Lines will be providing complimentary bus service to the 3 major airports in the area. So what does this mean for cruise passengers? Well, if everything goes right and everything goes perfect and everything works out, you'll disembark in Baltimore, no issues, no problems. However, one thing to keep in mind is there is always that possibility that you will be diverted and you will have to disembark in Norfolk, Virginia. So if you are flying out the morning that you disembark, you may want to consider pushing your flights back. Just to act on the side of caution, just to make sure that you have that cushion, that space in there, that just in case, you may want to, have yourself a later afternoon flight, an early evening flight, not try to have one of those morning type flights. Because there's always people, there's always one that books the earliest they possibly can, then must get off the ship first because they're gonna miss their flight. Well, you probably don't want to be that person just on the offhand chance that you do get diverted to Norfolk. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen, but something just to keep in mind. Now, of course, yesterday was April Fool's Day, and it never fails. Every year on April Fool's Day, well, that's when the shenanigans come out. The cruise shenanigans are everywhere, and this year I've saved some examples of what I think were some pretty good cruise line shenanigans. First up, we have the Crew Submarine by Carnival Cruise Lines. Yep, this is where the crew members will be spending the night. It comes out to the ship and picks them up at night. For those who want to know, do the crew members sleep here? Next, we have the return of the Carnival Airlines. Okay, no, Carnival Airlines is not coming back. Then we have the Cat Lovers cruise ship, cruise for those that like the 4-legged meowing friends. You have the new Ship and Slide for the quickest way to disembark from a cruise ship. And while this isn't real, that would be a quick way to get from the top deck, from the Lido deck, off of the ship. And finally, last but not least, we have the brand new Cleveland, Ohio cruise port, the new home port of the Carnival Valor. Now we're going to go over and discuss whether or not these people were scammed or were they not scammed when they booked their cruise on board the Carnival Horizon. So, kind of picture this in your mind. It's a 90s themed cruise. You're excited, you're ready to go. Now, you've booked this cruise through a travel agent. You show up in the port of Miami, ready to get on your cruise ship, only to find out you don't have a cabin. You're not actually booked on this cruise, apparently. The travel agent that you booked with, well, is also there at the cruise terminal getting on board this cruise ship. You tell your travel agent, hey, I'm having these kinds of problems. She then says, well, I'm going to take care of this. I will get this fixed. She boards the cruise ship, never comes back, the cruise ship leaves without you. Now, according to the story, you've got around 50 cruise passengers just left at the terminal. Naturally, they're angry, they're upset, they're crying, they're out money. What is going on? Now, the local Fox News station, well, they reached out to this travel agent on board the ship and asked her, hey, what's going on? You never came back to, talk to these people, help these people. And according to her, well, Carnival Cruise Lines, they just canceled some of these bookings months ago. Now, the travel agent, she did put a statement over on her Facebook page, and I am purposely leaving her name out of this because I'm sure she's getting enough, but I do want to share the statement. I have been booking travel for 13 years. I have been doing my annual cruise for 10 years with no past guests being left at the port before. Unfortunately, this year, 26 guests were left at the port. 6 had their boarding passes but chose to stay back with their family and friends. 12 others were paid in full and should have had their boarding passes. The other 4 were different reasons. But I take full responsibility of it all. I have given a sincere apology. All guests will receive a full refund, were offered a free cruise, and to send me the receipt of what it cost to change their flight back home. We have a big group on board and they are having an amazing time, but my heart is with those left behind. This will be my last public statement, as any other statements will come from legal counsel. So the news story said it was 50 people. She's saying 26. Not real sure where the number is in between that. Somewhere between 26 and 50. Now, apparently these cruise payments they made, they were held by an intermediary, a third-party travel company called Travel Joy. And to me, right there is the very first big red flag. I'm a travel agent. If I book a cruise, whether I'm booking somebody else's or I'm booking my own, any money that I pay or any money that a customer pays, a client pays, goes directly to the cruise line. Doesn't go to a third-party company. It should never, ever go to a third-party company. It should automatically go to the cruise line. If you book a cruise, whether it's through me or another travel agent, you're booking it yourself, you go in and you pay a deposit for a cruise, that money should go immediately to the cruise line. You should have a confirmation number from the cruise line. You should be able to go over to the cruise line's page. You should be able to log into your account, input that confirmation number, and see the details of your booking and your cruise on their website. And if the money isn't going directly to the cruise line, don't do it. Just don't do it. Now, this was Carnival Cruise Lines. So after you book your cruise and after you go past final payment due date and everything's done, you're going to go on to Carnival's website, whether it's the website or the app. You're going to check in. You're going to select your boarding times. 24 hours before the cruise, you have to do the health assessment, and your digital boarding pass is right there on the app. So I got to ask, how did these passengers that booked this cruise not know that? Were they not told that this is something they should do? Was this information not provided to them by the travel agent? Of course, the cruise line itself, Carnival, once you're booked, they have your email address. They're going to send you reminders to your phone. So I'm not real sure how people had their cruise canceled by Carnival, apparently, months before the cruise. Nobody apparently knew to go on the website, check their booking. I mean, they didn't want to look at shore excursions. They want to put in and see, hey, what's available for my cruise? They didn't want to go in and confirm what time they were going to be able to board the ship. They didn't want to buy some faster to the fun, maybe a drink package, some internet, nothing. Now, I can't say for sure this is a scam, this isn't a scam. Maybe it's an honest mistake, maybe it's not. But I've been on a whole lot of cruises. I've booked a whole lot of cruises, and just what they're saying in this story of how people got all the way to the ship and some of them didn't even have boarding passes, I don't know. To me, those are some really big red flags. So my word of advice, you make sure if you book a cruise, that money goes to the cruise line. Do not let it go through any third-party group that's holding your money. That should never happen. It should go from your wallet to the cruise line, nowhere in between. And if you're booking with a travel agent, you ask them, hey, is my money going right to the cruise line? Because I want to make sure it's going there. And you should be able to go to the cruise line, log in, and make sure your money is where it's supposed to be, because you don't want to show up at the cruise ship and get left behind. But what do you guys think? Does this sound legit? Does it sound like an accident? Does it sound like a mistake? Or does it sound like maybe this was a travel agent cruise line scam?